So my name's Sam Headleand. You can see on there. I'll tell you just a little bit about myself. So who am I? I am not a software developer, which is very unusual for here. I work for Autotrader. I'm a data analyst, so I just get loads of information about cars, don't know much about cars, all right with maths, because maths is cool. I really like maths. Okay, so my talk is about, it's a hacker's guide to disco calculating. So I'd probably tell you where this started. This is a disco calculator. It's sold out, so you can no longer buy it. And there's a few things that you might be able to see about it. So the funkiest calculator in town. Functions like a standard calculator, but also brightly coloured buttons, just like a dance floor. Its main features: it's a practical and fun gift, plays disco music, coloured buttons just like a retro dance floor, and buttons light up and flash. But not everyone likes it. So it's got one review, and this one review, I won't read that out for you, but basically just saying, but it plays music, it's really loud. Were you expecting like a silent disco or something? Like, why did you get a disco calculator if you didn't want it to play music? But the two things I want to focus on are, I thought it would play at least one tune that I know, which you'd kind of hope, really. I'd quite enjoy that. And it's fine as a calculator. This I don't agree with. All right? So what I care about, I'm a mathematician. I do maths for a living. I do maths for fun. I care about BODMAS. BODMAS is good. Order of operations. Disco calculator doesn't do order of operations. If you do 5 plus 2 times 5, that should equal 15, but it gives you 35, which is just wrong. I also care about 0, because 0 is really difficult, and you divide by 0, and 0 to the power 0, and most calculators will give you back silly answers. I want them to give me back an error, because it's undefined. I also care about cheesy 90s pop, which I quite like. So I decided to sort of put all of this together because I thought I could do a better version of the disco calculator. And then this happened. So this is my calculator I built. It's actually down here. Shall I just hold it up? You can come and have a look at it afterwards. Just come find me. So it's got various bits and pieces. So you have the buttons. You can't quite see it on there, but I have a tau button. I don't know if anyone's familiar with the tau versus pi debate, but I'm very much team tau, sorry. But these are quite cool. So what happens is there's only so many GPIO pins on the Pi. So it runs off a Raspberry Pi. So on the Raspberry Pi, they have the GPIO pins. These control all the inputs and outputs. So I had a choice. What I could do is either have one GPIO for every single pin, but then I wouldn't be able to do loads of stuff. I wouldn't be able to have loads of numbers because I'd run out of pins. So actually, these are set up in a grid. So there's 9 buttons, and they're in a 3x3 grid, which means I only need 6 pins. And there's lots of little cool things like that. I think it's cool anyway. Similar thing happens with the keypad. 3 columns and 4 rows, so 8 pins. It also has LEDs. They don't do anything, but the other one had LEDs, so I thought I should probably put some on. And it has a switch, which bad things happen when you flick the switch. Okay. Autotrader are really nice and let me come down here, so brand placement, Autotrader, powered by Autotrader. And we have the actual Pi that it runs off. Something quite hilarious happened after this picture was taken, which I'll explain in a minute. But another thing was, it's really hard to get an SD card for a Raspberry Pi, it turns out. Now, most people will think I'm talking about this, and I search this out, and then there's a massive list of SD cards that you can use with the Pi, and it was just like the most boring article I've ever read in my life. This wasn't the problem. The problem was, I have an Amazon Prime account, I ordered an SD card. Next day, what arrives? BlackBerry screen protector. I was a bit confused about this. I brought them with me. If anyone actually has a BlackBerry, and needs a screen protector, feel free, because I have no idea what to do with it. Next day, right, order a new one. They send me a magnifying mirror. vanity mirror, and I'm not quite sure, so I ring them up. There was hilarity and there was confusion, as they said, but we've already sent you a replacement SD card. I said, no, you've sent me a bloody magnifying vanity mirror. I don't need that. And then the next day, they sent me some nail varnish. And I've got them all with me, and this genuinely happened. They finally gave up. I was actually quite enjoying the game. Every day I was getting home, I didn't know what I was going to get. Anyway, back to the pie. That was just a fun side story. Back to the pie. So I did the code in Python. It does not use eval when it's doing the calculations, which a lot of people said to me, why aren't you using eval? Because that'll make it so much easier. String evaluation, all that. But I didn't know how to code before I started doing this project. And I was told by my partner, he's a very, very good coder, he said, I want you to learn to code. I don't want you to learn how to use libraries. And he thinks that there's a very distinct difference between these two things. So he didn't want me to say, right, eval, okay, I can evaluate a string. No, I can't. I can use a library to do it. And he was very passionate about this. So I told you about a few things that I care about. I care about BODMAS. I care about zeros. But how does that actually relate to the code that I was writing? So apparently the code I wrote is really cool. I wrote a parse tree. I didn't know what a parse tree was. I'm still not entirely sure what one is, but I wrote one. If anyone wants to come and explain it to me afterwards, that would be great. And recursion, that's another thing. When I first started, I desperately didn't know how. I couldn't do for loops. I couldn't do while loops. I couldn't do anything like that. I just didn't get it because my maths brain, it just didn't work. And then I was shown recursion. Oh, it's so pretty. Oh, it's just so nice. And I got it, and then it just started. Everything started to make sense. So I told you something a bit weird happened when I took this picture. And I wanted to show you this because it explains why the quality of the following pictures are going to be so terrible. So we took pictures of this with a very nice camera with a flash gun. And the pie broke. Because apparently the pie, you can't take pictures of it, because if you take pictures of it, it reboots, which is really, really unhelpful when you're trying to do a photo shoot of a Raspberry Pi. You would have thought with all its fame it would get used to the paparazzi, but apparently not. So we have images of this quality from now on. So I'll do some calculations on it. So we have error there. So if we were to do, for example, 1 divided by 0, because that should be error, right?
It's the final countdown. The final countdown.
So I have to awkwardly stand for 12 seconds because sleep bracket 12, basically. You've just done something stupid. You don't deserve to carry on calculating. There are various other things that might appear. So, for example, if I type in these numbers now, you may guess what this is afterwards.
It's time to begin. Now count it in. 5, 6, 7, 8.
My blue student baby is driving me crazy. My obsession from a western. My dance floor date. My rodeo Romeo.
I once did this talk and I actually did the dance during that. So that was very good for you that I didn't. Just a couple more. So my favourite sum at the minute is 37 times 25. Does anyone know what the answer to that is? You know the answer to that. All right. So if I do 37 times 25.
Working 9 to 5. What a way to make a living. Barely getting by. It's all taking and no giving. They just use your mind.
There are various other numbers, like everyone loves 5,318,008. If you would like to know what the song related to that is, come find me later. A good number, 0.7734. All right, this is the last one, I promise, but I love this. Oh, it's not working.
Hello, is it me you
actually stand for 12 seconds. I don't know why I picked 12 seconds. I need to reduce that. There are various other ones. Mambo Number 5, Pulp, Busted, 99 Red Balloons, which is great, and Bryan Adams. So various things have come from this. One fondly known as, so this is the disco calculator. Another good one I quite like is calculator disco. And there's also another thing called, I don't know how to pronounce this, so I'm just going to show you. So a very good friend of mine made calculator disco, which is basically a disco mat where you can do sums on it. And similar things happen. You will type in 0.7734 and it'll start playing hello. And this is us at a Christmas party. I'm just doing some maths. I have maths friends. And the other great one is this Casio game. So did anyone know that Casio do handheld games? Take that as, one person knew that new thing. This is great, right? My friend actually gave this to me. This is Tetris on a calculator. So I got an idea. And last time I did this, my calculator broke, which was about 5 minutes before this talk started, so I'm not going to do it again. But you can actually play the most buggy version of Tetris you will ever find on the calculator. Like, seriously, you rotate things, and they just change shape. But I think that's great, and I think that's the biggest reason not to write tests in code, because had I have wrote tests in this code, it would work, and it wouldn't be nearly as hilarious. So other things that have come from this. An evening of unnecessary detail, I made a calculator and got invited to do a 15-minute slot at a comedy club. Not quite what I was expecting. And also, not meaning to plug, but the product's coming out later this year. You will be able to buy a disco calculator Raspberry Pi hat. Weird things happen in my life. So I did this talk for someone, and they said that an important thing that they really wanted me to talk about was what I get out of this and why I did it. And I didn't make any amusing little pictures or anything like this for this part of the talk, because I really wanted to say that I couldn't code at all before this. I can just about code now. Apparently I can write parse trees. Who knew? But it's just a really good thing. So I don't know if you know anyone that's wanting to get into coding or anything like that, but I really think the key, most important thing for me was to actually have a project, something that I wanted to do, and a deadline to work to. That also really helps, because I showed this first at a talk that I'd promised the previous year that within this next year I'm going to build a disco calculator, so I kind of had to, or I would have been laughed at a bit. So I guess that covers why I did it as well. And what I've got out of it, well, I mean, I'm here, so that's kind of a cool thing. Like, I actually got invited to come and talk about it. I got invited to do comedy shows and stuff, so, you know. That's all I've got to say, really. So we've got 2 minutes left if anyone wants to come and play a song. So, back.
Do you have 666?
I don't know, but I will do. Right. Oh, it's not playing music. I don't have that one. I'm gonna have to. Oh yeah, one other thing is that it's really badly coded. So you have to reboot it every so often, or the music just sort of stops working. Anyway, if you want to find out what happens when you type in 5,318,008, come find me, because my time is up now. So, bye.